Welcome back to the channel. So I may have made a very costly mistake for my firewood business this year. As you can see behind me, I've got the woodshed fully stocked. So I've got both bays filled. One bay is just my firewood for the season. The other bay is good dry firewood that I can start to sell very soon here. The rest of the firewood I have, which is the bulk that I wanted to sell this year, is on the other side of my yard here, and it's all uncovered. It was nice and dry at the end of August. I checked all of it, and I've got a mixed hardwoods in there. I've got hickory, ash, oak, white oak, and red oak, a little bit of hackberry, a little bit of ironwood, and it was all under 20% moisture content. Most of it was under 15% moisture content. So, you know, good dry firewood, ready to sell and burn. In September, we got 2 weeks where we just got a lot of rain, and all the wood got soaked. Some of it started to get moldy. So we're gonna go check on it here. The last couple of days have been dry. The last 2 days have been windy, which wind is really good for drying out firewood. So we're gonna go check on it again and see how it is. I'm hoping that I can salvage as much of it as possible that I can still sell for this year. But, you know, I'm not gonna sell bad firewood. It's gotta be good and dry. I want it to be good firewood. So, like I showed you this shed before where I have the tractor parked, you know, this was ultimately built to be a bulk firewood storage shed. I just haven't had any other place to put the tractor, and I still don't. So what I'm gonna do is move out the implements. I have the grapple in here and the box blade. I'm gonna move them out for the winter time, get as much firewood in there as I can, and still leave room for the tractor. So right now we're gonna run over to the wood yard, check on the firewood that I have over there, see what the moisture content is on it, and then we're gonna get these implements moved out. So I'm not gonna get all of this done today. I just want to try to get everything organized, get a plan in place, and be ready to start moving firewood over here. So the weather looks nice for the next couple days, so hopefully we can get this shed organized with as much wood as we can fit in there. And then everything else in the wood yard, I want to get covered up so at least keeps the moisture off of it. I'll leave the sides open so it still gets some airflow if it needs to dry out a little bit more, but we'll at least keep anything, you know, rain, snow, whatever we get off of the top of that wood from soaking into it. All right, guys, the trusty moisture meter. If you sell firewood or burn firewood or own a log house, these things are a must-have. So this section from the end down to, I don't know, about right here is all hickory. And then the whole middle is pretty much ash. And then I've got some hackberry all through here. And this is all sycamore right here. This sycamore, when you cut it pretty quick, if you don't let it sit, this stuff actually dries really nice. And I split this kind of big because it's still a hardwood, but it's on the lighter side of that scale. So it's not a real heavy, dense wood, but it dries quick and actually is not a bad firewood. So I like to mix that with oak when I'm burning. You know, kind of gives a nice filler. You can put a nice big chunk in the wood stove and it'll burn really well with some ash or some hickory. So not stuff I'm gonna sell, but this is stuff I'll burn or maybe sell as like campfire wood. So still has some use to it. And if you have sycamore trees on your property, they are huge, so you get a ton of firewood out of them. All right, let's check this stuff out. So you see how a lot of it looks like this. Got a little bit of mold growing on it. It's nothing that hurts it. Actually still feels nice and dry. This stuff was really wet a couple, like 2 weeks ago. All right, that's a good piece. So we're like down in the middle of that pile. There's a glare on that. So that is 18.7. Yeah, that's 21.2. So that one's 24.4. That one's 20.6. 27.3. So the stuff in the middle is definitely not ready. All that stuff is over 20. Let's check this ash out. All right, all that stuff is like really close to 20. This side gets a little more sun. That's some white oak. That's at 16. That's at 16. 17.6. 16. 13. So this stuff in this first row over here is much drier. I mean, look at that, 14. On the other side, it was 20 plus. Some of it was like 18, but there's another 14. All right, so a lot of this stuff is under 15% moisture content, which is good. So what I'm gonna do is probably move as much of this first row as I can into that woodshed up there. This is, well, actually that'll give me about a cord of firewood if I move this whole front row, and I'm sure I'll be able to pick some stuff off the top to fill it in. So that'll give me a good cord of mixed firewood that I can put up in the woodshed. It's gonna be right around 15% moisture content, and it'll be able to keep on drying out while I sell the stuff that's in the woodshed now. This whole rack is a little over a cord of red oak, which I want to sell most of this as like premium. That's 13. That's 13. That's 12. That's 14. This stuff is good too. Yeah. So I need to get, all right, this is good. We got a game plan going here. You can see this is a healthy cord of red oak. I mean, that's probably actually 1 1/3 right there. I probably got a good face cord on top of that cord. So if I can get all that red oak under there and everything in this first row over here, I'll have, let's just say, 2 cords of firewood under cover. I'll condense this pile so I can cover it a little bit better. I'll space it out, so I'll just have 2 rows, you know, with a gap in between, and then we'll let this stuff dry through the winter. So it's gonna limit a little bit what I can sell this year, but we're figuring this out on the go. So, you know, like I said, this was gonna be a learning curve this year. I'm not expecting much out of it. I just want to get a good process set up, you know, figure out where the best place is on my property to dry firewood, and then, you know, get a good process for drying it, moving it, getting it bundled, and getting it out to the roadside stand. So I'm gonna head back up to the shed, get everything cleared out. I've got a couple skids down here that I can bring up, and we will get started on setting that up. All right, so we got plenty of room. I mean, that's 4 feet, so right where my foot is. And we still got another, you know, 2 feet to the tractor, and the tractor's completely under the roof, right where it's parked now. So we got, I think, about 9 feet inside here. Yeah, we got 9 feet on the inside, so we'll be able to get a nice cord and a half right here. I'll probably just stack it 6 feet tall. We'll figure this out as we start to put it together. I could put a row down the side. You know, the width of the tractor, the rear track is 5 feet. It's about 60 inches. Yeah. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, if I was tight up against the side, I would have 4 feet, but that's not feasible. I mean, you'd never be able to park in there. So maybe 2 feet along one of the sides, maybe a 2-foot strip. That'd be a half cord. Yeah, that could work, right? So if I put a cord and a half back here, and then another half cord up the side, there's my 2 cords I have, and still have room for the tractor. So that might be what we do. I just have to make a rack to put the 2-foot section. I have all these pallets that I'm going to build for the rack back here. this is gonna work. So we're gonna be able to get 1.5 cords on that rack along the back there. That's 4 feet wide by 8 feet long. We're gonna stack it 6 feet tall. So that'll be 1.5 cords of firewood. This is 8 feet long. We're gonna make it 6 feet tall, which will give us another 1/2 cord. So we'll be able to get 2 full cords, and we'll be able to get the tractor parked right here. You can kind of see, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but you can see the old tire marks. You know, there's one here, there's one here. So I still have enough room in here. Hopefully I'll be able to get off. I don't know. I'll have to move the tractor over as far as I can to this side. But I think this will work. So we'll be able to keep the tractor in here, get 2 cords of firewood in here so they get nice and dried out, and then get everything else over there stacked and covered up so that can finish drying. So probably for next year. So, you know, we're probably looking at about 3 or 4 cords of firewood that we'll be able to sell this season. And I'm only going to sell them in bundles. So I think that'll be a pretty good start. We'll see how this goes. And then I need to make some more room up here. So we got a lot of work coming up with this whole area up here. I need to make some more space so I can start buying firewood poles, bringing them in, and have a lot more drying rack all along the top of this hill here. So that's going to be a pretty big project that we're going to start working on really soon. I might even take this shed roof off so I can widen this whole area. Probably put some dirt out along this edge here to level this out so I have room for firewood baskets. So we got a lot of dirt to move. We got a lot of firewood racks to build because I'm gonna have to build some kind of drying rack system that I can store firewood all along here as it dries all summer. That's gonna be the best place I think I have on my property to dry firewood. So hopefully we can get this up to like 20 cords. That's kind of where I want to be. That's like my goal right now, is to get to 20 cords of firewood so we can start to sell some bulk along with the bundled firewood down by the roadside. All right, let's go grab a load. I gotta dig the cart out of the weeds because we're gonna load the side-by-side up, hook the cart up to the back of that, and see how much firewood we can get over here in one trip. Alright, this cart's been sitting back here in the woods for a while now, so definitely need some air in the tires. I'll go 30. All right, guys, we didn't quite get done before dark, so I got the cart loaded up with a nice load of white oak, but we will get back to this in a couple days here. So this will kind of be like a part 1 and then part 2 coming up to get the rest of the wood that we can fit into the woodshed, and then get all this wood down here reorganized, get it covered so it can continue to dry throughout the winter time. So thanks for joining us. If you liked our content, please subscribe, hit that like button. Let me know if you have any questions, and we will see you on the next one.